But we're not going to those theories. Because the theories are about theories. But we're talking about practical reality regarding love. A theory, it basically is a model that you could apply in real life situations to be able to achieve a particular objective. And if the theory, if it is not tested, or if the theory is not based on a quantitative or a phenomenological research, that theory cannot be generalized. And so we have this concept of generalization in all research projects. And we have three major focuses in research. We have the quantitative research, qualitative, and the mixed methods. It is only the two methodologies, the quantitative and the mixed methods, that these researches are generalizable. The results are generalizable. And therefore, if we read about a theory of the psychology of love, and say Sigmund Freud says something about the metaphysics of love, in some cases, we find that that does not tally with our real life experience. First of all, let's understand what love really means. What does it mean to you? Sometimes we hear our people saying, love at sight. Are you familiar with this concept? Love at sight. For centuries, we have, in most cases, been misled by people who do not understand the psychology of love at all. Because, see, there are two concepts, or there are two constructs. A construct is a phenomenon which is not having a length and breadth, but it is measurable by some other definitive methodologies. So love is a psychological construct, which basically brings to bear that an individual invests their affection on an object of love. And that is the very definition of love by General Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev said, love implies or means reposing all of our affection on a lovable object. Now, if we think about that, and we relate that to, say, attraction, they're two different things. Attraction and love, they are completely different things. Now, this misconstruement and misinterpretation, or even the misdefinition of love, has resulted to so many chaotic situations. I can give an example. There was this teacher, I think even yesterday I gave this story. There was this teacher, her dad was a professor. She's from Seattle. She's late now. But this lady, to my experience, I've lived on this planet for over 60 years, and I've not seen a lady who is as beautiful as that lady. She was a teacher. At 34 years old, she had two kids with her husband. She was teaching, and she got attracted to one of her students. The student was a teenager, 12 years old. In America, a boy of 12 years old could be taller than me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. She got attracted to this boy, and she started having an affair with this boy in her car. And she was arrested by the cops. Now, to cut matters short, she went to jail. She was on parole and was warned never to get close to this boy. But no, she couldn't resist the force of attraction, even after going to jail. she generated a statement. She said, if love, this is what referring to the boy, if loving you is a crime, then I've committed a crime. Now tell me, this relationship, is it based on love? What is it? If it's not based on love, what is it? I have so many stories to tell you. I've not studied UK very much, but I know of so many situations or cases in America where people have gone to jail because of statutory rape. In America, when you have an affair with somebody, even if it is consensual, and the person is less than 18 years, is called statutory rape. I know so many female teachers and so many male teachers in America who had gone to jail for statutory rape. But the snag is that they say it is love. So Lady K, the lady I'm referring to, who is so beautiful, she said, if loving that guy, I wouldn't mention his name, if loving that boy is a crime, then she's guilty. In other words, I can't stop loving you. But this is even against the laws, against the Constitution of the United States. So the point is, when we get attracted to somebody, is that love? When we have a crush on someone, is that love? Let's be clear, because this very misconception has created so much devastation in people's lives. It has resulted in fractured marriages. Someone becomes attracted to the opposite sex, if it means they are in a relationship. So the question is, what is this love in contrast to what is obtainable in our modern society? See, sometimes we misunderstand that we can love our parents, we can love our friends, we can love, someone. But then the misunderstanding is that when we are attracted to somebody and it's based on exploiting that person's body, physical body, that's not love. And why is that not love? Because it is based on exploitation. And according to Bhagavad Gita, the famous dialogue, the classic dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and Simo Arjuna. Arjuna asks this question: what is it that impels us to act sometimes even against our better judgment? Like, I get attracted to a girl, I get attracted to someone who is even married. And I can claim it's love. I love you so much. I can't do without you. I've seen cases where, I don't want to mention names. I've seen cases where people are married. This is in Hollywood, in America. A celebrity, he got married to a lady. She was already married, but he's very popular in the whole world. So he told this lady, look, I love you so much. This is a celebrity, okay? Just by hearing his name, oh, you bow down for him. So the lady, she was married at the time. She went to divorce the husband to come marry this guy. So this is how the misinterpretation of love has wrecked homes, has wrecked marriages. And therefore, when we get the sweet hormones being emitted in our brains, when we encounter somebody and we think that that is love, we have to weigh it on the scale of the Constitution and the criminal codes. Is the relationship free from indictment? I'll give you another example. Our President Trump, Donald Trump, he was indicted for sexual assault. This is the president of the most powerful country in the world. And he was found guilty of 34 felony counts. Sex attraction. He had a wife. At the time the incident happened, the wife just delivered. Is this love? Now, there are so many cases we can draw the corollaries and bring to bear that, yes, there are two different constructs. Yes, love is one, but attraction to physical bodies or having a crush on somebody that we are not able to resist that temptation, that is not love. That is due to something else. Who knows what that is? What is the cause of that? Anybody to help us? What is the cause? We debunk the idea it's not love, and you can also see it. Love shouldn't lead you to prison. Or love shouldn't lead you to divorce. What is that? Can someone help us? Yes. Sense gratification. I want one word. Thank you. Huh? Lust. How do you know? Just joking. So, yeah. This very emotion, lust, is also an emotion. And the most powerful emotion in our living world, in our world of life, is love. But there is another emotion, a negative emotion. But not just negative, it is that very emotion is responsible for propelling us into actions. Because it's governed by the mode of passion. And the mode of passion is what enables creativity. So, loss is not just a bad thing. It's just that if it is misapplied, it could lead to devastation. I like telling the story of Strauss-Kahn, the 10th director for International Monetary Fund, a French guy. How many of you have served with the International Monetary Fund here? Anybody? Okay, so the 10th director for International Monetary Fund, his name is Strauss-Kahn. He's a French guy. He came to New York. He was lodging in a hotel, and he got attracted to a maid in the hotel, and they called the police on him. His charges were attempting rape and other charges. He was found guilty and was in prison. That's how he lost his job. At the time, one of his daughters was schooling in one of the Ivy Leagues in New York. That's how he lost his job. So when we get attracted to somebody based on their beauty, is that love? No. Love is something that is beyond the physical beauty. Because if we say, okay, if I say, I love you, because maybe you are in your 21 years or 22 or 23 or 24, this class of people, they're very, very vibrant and attractive. It's opposite. When you get to the age of 50, 60, okay? So here we can, it's designable that this person in their early 20s, we see that they are very attractive.
Right, 15 times.
There was a young lady, she told me a story. When she was 17, a professional of 25 years with all of the facilities of life, good house, good cars, was pursuing her. And she happened to be someone who is a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga. And so she knew that this person is attracted to my physical beauty. And she was really very beautiful at the time. And when the boy started pursuing her, it gets to a stage where she couldn't really do anything else than to tell the truth. So he asked this boy, this guy, can I tell you something? So the guy said, yes. He thought he wants to say, well, you've been pursuing me all this while, so I subscribe to your love adventures. But no, he didn't. She didn't say so. No. She said, you know what? You don't love me. You kept saying you love me, but you don't love me. You're lusty after me. The guy was devastated. He got really so pissed off. And that was the end of the adventure. He stopped bothering her. The fact is that the girl just said the truth. And he was very angry to hear the truth. Now, for girls in general, you need to hear this, because most of the beautiful girls, they're like ripe bananas, ready to be eaten by the monkeys. I'm serious. So, if you go to a place like Vrindavan in India, and you carry a banana, a group of monkeys will come and beat you up and take your banana. No, I'm serious. If you ever go, even your glasses, your eyeglasses, you don't put on eyeglasses to move on the streets of Vrindavan. The monkeys are vicious. The point we are trying to establish is the difference between love and lust. Love, you can love your parents. You can love, your child. You don't advance. You don't go for sexual advances with your parent or with your mother or with your father, but you love them. Because when you encounter these people, the love hormones, the sweet hormones are emitted in your brain. That is how to know. See, love, you can measure it. It doesn't have length and breadth, but you can measure it. Somebody you love, you can measure it in the brain. Oh, yeah. There are love hormones. But it is not that in all cases it has to end in sex. Look, I love my mentees, and majority of them are females. Okay. In some cases, they love me even more than they love their parents. Because some of the things that some of these girls tell me, in some cases I'll tell, oh, this is a purely female affair. Why don't you speak with your mom? And I had cases like that. And they tell me, no, she won't listen. It happens. Therefore, if the parents want their kids to repose their love in the family, they have to be attentive to their children's needs. And love is actually divine. See, these bodies, these bodies that we have, they're composed of, they're made up of 8 elements. 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. And within that, within the subtle body, which is composed of mind, intelligence, and ego, which is the subtle element, we have the real self, the spiritual self, characterized by bliss, eternity, and knowledge. And love actually implies doing everything you can to decarcerate that entity within this body from the shackles of material bondage or material incoherences. When people talk about self-love without knowing what is the self. You heard of self-love? Yes. So yes, we need to love ourselves. First, before we love anyone else, we need to love ourselves. But who are we? So the people, those in the mode of passion, they identify the whole body as the self. Those in the mode of goodness, they identify the spiritual entity, the embodied soul, as the self. It's also called Atma, but it is characterized by bliss, knowledge, and eternity. So self-love implies doing everything at our disposal to see that we don't degrade the soul, the spirit soul. In other words, we do things that will elevate the soul, not degrade the soul. Degrade the soul in the sense that we can degrade the soul by becoming demoted to lower forms of life in our next existence. We have this theory of evolution, but there is also the theory of devolution. We don't only evolve, we can devolve. That is the statement of Srila Vyasadeva. If you read the Vedic literatures, you'll find all of these components in the Vedic literature. And therefore, especially for young people, old people too, elders too, for young people, they need to understand the ultimate objective of human life. Without understanding the ultimate objective of human life, we will always misplace our love. We'll put our love adventures in the wrong places. And then we'll get disappointed. We'll get frustrated. I've seen people who commit suicide because of frustration from love, wrong places of investing your love. And therefore, if somebody comes to you to say, I love you, you should ask them what they mean by what they mean by I love you. Have you seen me? I mean, it's like one of these Greek philosophers. I don't remember which one, whether Aristotle or the other one. But when he was condemned to death, he said, "No, you cannot even catch me, not to speak of killing me." So the people were confused. But he was a spiritual philosopher too, not only a mundane philosopher. Therefore, if we don't understand our pristine identity, it is so easy to be carried away by flowery language in the 21st century. Somebody comes to whisper to your ears, I love you. I can't do without you. In fact, I can't sleep. Blah, blah, blah. And then you think, oh, he is dying for me. Let me not miss this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get proper understanding. And I recommend, there are some literatures I can recommend for you. You read and you understand your Christian identity. A book like the classic conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, it's called Bhagavad Gita. And I've been in this process of exploring classical literature, especially Vedic literature, for 40 years. 40 years. If somebody Maybe someone who has no skills, they will say, well, you don't have anything to do with your life. That's why you're doing all this stuff. But boy, look, I have so much to do with my life, boy. So, let's be clear. When we talk about love, it is something transcendental. When we talk about lust, it's something mundane. We have been misdirected for so many centuries. And we've been misdirected for so long. It doesn't mean that you cannot love somebody, but get it clearly, the very conception of love. It is not about having a crush on somebody. It's not about being attracted to material body. If you're attracted to a material body that is so vibrant and youthful, when they get old, will the attraction remain the same? No. So the understanding of love should be properly and expediently decimated. We have a problem of being carried away by flowery language of modern society. And this is a problem anywhere you go on this planet. See, I was a victim of this too, until I encountered the teachings of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So don't misquote me. There is love in this world. There is love. Most parents love their children. They are ready to die and let their child live. Yeah, I've seen parents like that. They are ready to sacrifice their life for their child to live. So there is love. You can't say there is no love. There is love. But we need to be able to understand what love means. And when someone says they love us, what they really mean. And therefore, I will suggest to all of us, look, life is meant for inquiries. In fact, when a child comes to the age of 10 and 11, 12 up, they are exploring everywhere. I remember when I was 10 years old, I would go out, I would sneak out of the house to go to the stadium without my father's consent, because I wanted to see what was going on every damn place. So we explore. We explore. We should utilize that sense of exploration in diving deep in anti-material understanding of our real identity. Then we can properly channel our loving energies in that direction. If we think we are just the bodies, our misconception will lead us to destructive situations where we might not be able to figure out what to do. But if we're properly situated, first of all, it's about the metaphysics of this body, who we really are. This body is changing from boyhood to youth to old age, eventually death. The soul, the spirit soul, never changes. So love means that you love somebody, and notwithstanding the change of their physical body, the love is still there. It should be constant as the northern star. But that cannot happen. That type of love, affection, will not be there except we understand the nucleus within this body, the life force within this body, which is the object of our love. Now, if the life force leaves the body, you no longer would call me Dr. Das or Bhakti Vasudeva Swami. He said the corpse is there. But yeah, the name may change, the corpse. or cadaver. Oh yeah. Those who are attracted to the body will no longer be attracted to that body. Because the real life force, which is the invocator of love, is no longer there. It's not something else. So what really happens is that we love the spirit soul within the body, not the physical body. And that is why when the spirit soul, the life force, leaves this body, we don't give a damn to the body. Even the person that we were most affectionate towards, we don't want to see the body anymore. We are urging for, the appropriate authorities to take the body away to the crematorium or to the cemetery. That's the person we always will say, darling, darling, darling. Now it's no longer darling. The deficiency in our love is the lack of the understanding of who we are. If we do understand who we are, we can make a big difference. See, I told, I was in Montreal in Canada, and a young man came to me. He was from ISKCON, traveling around with other young men who were engaged in distribution of books. And then he came to meet me to ask for a strategy on how to motivate, how to love those kids, those fellow Bhakti yogis who were traveling with him. They were all young people in their 20s. So I said, you know what? I have the solution for you. See, the love you have for your younger brother, your beloved younger brother, the love you have for your beloved younger brother, extend that same love to all these boys who are traveling with you. And guess what he told me? He looked me right in the face and he said, Maharaj, that is so difficult. So I asked him, what is so difficult? This is in your philosophy, in the Bhagavad Gita that you distributed, in the Bhagavad Gita you're reading, in the Bhagavad Gita where you have what you use in your preaching. It says that we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. In other words, we are one family. We have one father. So what is difficulty in loving your sibling? So sometimes we become parrotologists. We speak like parrots. We repeat the things like parrots. We don't apply anything. So, just in summary, we need to understand what love is. And love implies reposing all of our affection in a lovable object. And that affection, reposition of the affection, will only be discernible, will only be observable when we understand the pristine identity of our lovable object. If I see you based on your body, I will be attracted to your body. But I see you based on the fact that you are a spirit soul, I will not that desire or those desires of yours in regenerating or recreating a future that is based on spiritual reality. If it's the opposite case, I would just be thinking on how to exploit your beauty. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let's be real. Let's have a change. Let's redirect our misdirected concept of love to be able to create a sustainable future in a world that is full of uncertainties. Love is real. Lust is real. They are opposite polarities. Therefore, we have to see how we are growing in our daily lives, in our professional lives, and not to be exploited by anybody by a word jugglery or an emission of flowery language. We'd like to stop there. Maybe there's some comments or questions. Yes. How do you what? Okay, I got it. Yeah, it could be a big problem, but if we prepare, like you mentioned, if we prepare ourselves properly, we'll be able to deal with the inevitable. Because the people around us, people we have affection for, at some point in time, will be separated. So when we become separated by the agency of death, what to do? Some people, they're not able to contain it, and they go into, they're hospitalized. They go into depression and all the type of, mental health challenges. So yeah, we have to understand that when people leave their bodies, for instance, they die, so-called die, nobody ever dies. That's another strange conception, right? We don't really die, we change bodies. The soul, the life force within this body never dies. Because it is eternal. It's characterized by eternity, bliss, and knowledge. So the spirit soul never actually dies. If someone quits the body, we should understand that because of our presence in their life, they will attain an elevation in the next phase of existence. In fact, in one of these classic literatures, is called Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's a discussion between Punarik Vijayanidhi and Pandit. What's the name of this Pandit? Yeah, there was a discussion there, and Punarik Vijayanidhi is a highly elevated devotee of Lord Krishna. But he was living in opulence. And so when Mukunda Datta brought his friend to have darshan, to see this saintly person, Mukunda Datta's friend is a younger folk, but then he saw this saint in an opulent setting. So he was doubtful. A saint supposed to live a life of wretchedness, a mendicant. He's living in just an opulence. So he had a doubt. And then Mukunda recited some verses from the Bhagavad Purana or the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Punarik Vijayanidhi is sworn into ecstasy. And that's his name. Gadadhar Pandit, he became so much regretful about his offense. And Punarik Vijayanidhi explained that for someone who is cultivating Bhakti Yoga, listen, for someone who's cultivating Bhakti Yoga, they are capable of awarding liberation. That process, their involvement, will give a reward of liberation to their 10 generations in their family. 10 generations. Sometimes people ask me, hey, you are such a research scholar. Why must you just be involved in, spirituality? Now, for the Paramahamsa, the 21 generations in the family become liberated. For the Madhyamādika, I think 12 or 14 generations become liberated. You tell me, what type, if even you are Elon Musk, the richest man on the planet, you cannot give that type of boon to your family. Rather, by the time you die, you'll be fighting who gets the bigger share of the money. And here, a person who is involved in Bhakti Yoga practice, they are able to liberate their families who do not necessarily participate in the practice. This is the power of Bhakti Yoga. So when your loved ones leave, you should have this understanding. They get reward. They get some liberation in their next existence. So that will give you some sense of relief instead of going through depressive feelings morning without end. All of us, we have to leave the body, we have to quit at some point in time. But this is a very pertinent question. We all will leave this material body. How are we prepared for that? Our loved ones will leave us. How are we prepared for that? Yeah. And as you say, if your loved one leaves you and you go to commit suicide, you don't really relieve the situation. You just complicate your next existence. Sometimes people don't know. I remember during the Soviet Union, some Soviet officials, there was some issue in the government. And Soviet officials, some of the Soviet officials, they killed themselves. Pistol, boom, boom, a number of them. They killed themselves. In other words, I don't want to face the consequences. But once you kill yourself, you create more trouble for the next phase of your existence. So yes, that's a nice point. We have to figure out what to do when our loved ones leave. But this is how to be able to have that psychology of adjustment to suit the purpose. Yeah. Yes.
I've got two questions.
Yes.
My first one is, what is true love? Because I hear two things from two different people. One is, people say true love is patience, waiting for the right person to come at the right time. And then the other one is, people say true love is a person that never leaves you, you know, your lowest moment. So who's right? Is it first waiting or finding another person?
Yeah. When we say true love, love is always true. Lust is deceitful. Love is always true because it's authentic. Now, lust is very deceptive. So then, that's the misnomer. When we are looking for true love, and then someone gives us some ideas, some version here and then the other version, these are the misconceptions that have driven us to the brink of social disaster. Listen, if we really understand what love is always authentic. And if we are looking, for instance, say, a partner, say I'm a man, I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for a girl, or I'm looking for another man, or whatever, we have to strategize. What are the elements that I'm looking for in this person? Is this person trustworthy? Now, there are trustworthiness competencies. For instance, if someone is consistent, if someone is caring, do they have integrity? Do they have character? Okay, if you see someone say, oh, this is true love, and because they dress very nicely, they might be robbers. So, again, this is the whole misconception that we are trying to address here. Love is always authentic. Lust is deceptive. Lust has to do with attraction to physical bodies. Love has to do with attraction and affection for the pure spiritual identity, for the pure spiritual entity. Now, your mother loves you, or your father loves you, or your brother, your cousin, your friend. They love you. But it's not based on the fact that they want to have sex with you. That's not love. That may be part of it, but it's not love. So love is completely distinct from material acquisition or material exploitation. So when we talk about true love, love is always true. There's a misconception here. Yeah, this is what we have been this is what we've been encountering for centuries in this material world. People come to give us different conceptions of love because they don't even tell us who we really are. If you don't understand who you are, what's the question of loving yourself? And what is the question of loving someone else? You wouldn't know what to look for in trying to figure out who to love, where to invest your love. So love, my point is, love is always true. Lust is deceptive. We get driven by crush. And we tend to think that that is love. But then, okay, I gave this example earlier. You get attracted to a very beautiful young girl, 20 years old, and by the time they come, they become like 50 years. You're looking for some younger girl. Where is the love? That's not love. It's called lust. L-U-S-T. This is something really plaguing human society. It's a disease. We get driven by this. And the mind, the sensory modalities, they drive us crazy because we have this misconception. And we just pursue exploitation in the name of love. So true love is authentic. And love is always true. Lust is not true. Lust is also true, but it's very temporary. Because we move from one object of lust to the other. Once we see that the vibrancy in this girl is no longer there because she is now 50 years old, our attention is onto someone else who is younger. And I'm saying, yes, the next question.
My second question is, if you make a promise to stay, and then the promise is broken, do you still uphold your side, or do you move on? And if you do stay move on, and you feel guilty about it, what should you do?
That's a nice point. See, if someone breaks their promise in interpersonal relationship, it is very difficult to repose trust in that person. Once trust is broken, it is very difficult to repair it. But you can forgive. There's nothing wrong in forgiving the person. Suppose they confess to you or they apologize to you. Humans, we have 4 deficiencies. And one of them is that we make mistakes. Even the most intelligent being in this universe, Lord Brahma, he screwed himself up a number of times. We are just little jivas. It's so easy to screw up ourselves. And so, yeah, if the person breaks a promise, and you can forgive the person, because see, don't carry grudges in your life. You can forgive the person, and if you want to move on with your life, see, I had a friend. When I was in my 30s, I had a friend who's a professor. So he was trying to get married to one girl. A girl was, he's late now. He was a philosophy professor. He had a PhD in philosophy. He wanted to marry one girl in his university. The girl was a law student. He was graduating that year. And then that very year, the girl dumped him. So he was completely demoralized. So he called me on the phone. He said, Vasudeva, please come. I said, look, I am 3 hours by drive away from your city. He said, if you love me, come here. So I knew something is wrong. So I went. And I went straight to his office in the university. And I saw some of his students, boys and girls, final year students of philosophy, in his office. He was devastated, in a depressive mood, because this girl abandoned him. So I asked him, what is the problem? He told me the story. So I asked him, so right now, you have a PhD. Do you think that if you advertise on the news, on the newspapers, in the newspapers, that you are a PhD, you need a lawyer to marry and describe the height you want, the beauty, or whatever? You know how many applications you will receive? Why you have to kill yourself for one single girl? You have more qualifications that you can think of, that if you advertise, if even you want 10 of those girls, those type of girls, you can get. A new dawn on him. He got relief from all of the demoralization that he was passing through. He felt, this makes sense. His mood changed. Then he got up at some point in time to say he has a class. He's going to the classroom to deliver a lecture. So when he left, the students who were there, the boys and girls, they pounced on me. They were asking, who are you? You came to change this professor's mood. You came to change his life positively around. Tell us who you are. That's how I started sharing with them about my background and the type of work I do. So yes, people can get really demotivated when their promised land is not achieved. But you are more than that. There are so many people out there. And if you're a boy, you're a handsome boy, there are so many beautiful girls around there. Why have to kill yourself for one person? One person, yeah. So, if they broke the promise, if they don't want to hang out or be with you, move on with your life.
Do you feel guilty about it?
What?
Do you feel guilty about it?
No. Why should you feel guilty?
Because you also made the promise.
Oh, you made a promise and you broke the promise?
No. If you both made the promise, if you both made the promise, and then they broke it.
Yeah, they broke it, so you don't have any regrets. It's not your fault. Someone broke the promise. You should be courageous to move on with your life. They have their own agenda. You should move on with your life. Yes. Any other comments or questions? Yes.
I wanted to ask, I've heard people say, like, oh, what's the point of loving someone if you don't show it to them in, like, the physical sense? And they define ways of showing love, gifts, all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, there is this conception that was these love principles of love that is enunciated in the Nectar of Instruction. 5 ways to demonstrate your love for somebody: giving gifts, receiving gifts, listening attentively to someone else's dilemma or their excitement. In other words, sharing, participating in one's excitement or misgivings, and these are some of the ways we can express our love for somebody: giving gifts and receiving gifts. So when we love somebody, these are ways to show that, yes, I care for you, I love. In fact, if someone gives you a gift, say, for instance, you're a girl, some boy gives you a gift, you should know that you've been propositioned. Oh yeah. So because, we humans, we are wired not to be defeated. We want to always gain something. And so we give a gift to somebody, that is out of, there is some element of affection there. So be aware that you've been propositioned. And sometimes the gifts could come increasing, and at the point in time that the person opens up to say, I love you. And then you say that, oh no. So yes, gifts are important. And even, look, it's not just about people out there. But even your friends, your girlfriends, they care for you, they love you, they give you gifts. Your parents, family members, they give you gifts. They give you gifts, it is because they care for you, they love you. But then you should not always be on the receiving end. You should also practice or learn to give gifts to others. That is how to coordinate affairs in the material world so that we can live in a more socially inclusive environment. Gifts is a source for bonding. If you're not giving gifts, you don't create relationship with people. If you're not receiving gifts, people will be afraid of you. They'll be thinking you don't care for them. So yeah, it matters. Parents, the same thing. If you're a parent, you travel out, say you travel out of London, you're coming back, your kids expect that you bring some gifts to them. Because traditionally when parents travel, they come with some toys or some gifts for their kids. But that is an exchange of love. So we care for our kids. We don't run after them for sex. So exchange must be there. And how would you say we love someone when we don't communicate with the person? I remember I was in India, in Delhi some years ago, and we had a program in one of my friends' place, and one elderly lady came to tell me that I should do something about it. I said, what? He said her son, 35 years old son, lives with her, and they've not been talking for months. So love could also be truncated. If you stop talking with somebody, that is also an abuse. It's called emotional abuse. If you ignore somebody, how could you live with someone in the same house and you don't talk to them? And how could we say we love someone and we don't communicate? It doesn't work like that. So communication is, see, I'll tell you a story. I have a friend in Michigan, in America. So I was away to another continent. And I just called him. He just finished his master's and he was working. Just first year. He was working. And I called him just to ask how he was doing. And I have that relationship with my friends. I just called them, I didn't know that had such a powerful impact on him. When I came back to the US, he sent me a ticket to come to Michigan for a festival they were having. So when I went, I chastised him. I said, see, you're a young man. You just finished your master's. You're working. Why you have to spend your money on me? He said, oh, Maharaja, you don't know what you have done to me. I asked, what did I do to you? He said, you were away in another continent. You called me on the phone not to ask for anything, just to ask me how I was doing. He's an Indian boy. He said, even my parents don't ever do that. They only call me when they want to harass me for money. So try reaching out to your friends just to ask them how they are doing. That creates a powerful impression in the relationship. So love is also characterized by communication. Any last point or questions? Okay.
I don't know how long we'll be here. Maybe people can ask.
Yes, after that, after hypnosis. All right, so we'll stop here. And if you have any doubts or questions regarding this and some of that subject matter, feel free to reach out to me. All right.
Have a huge round of applause.